Let's start this video off in Slovenia. Of all the countries in Europe, I don't think there's a more compact country that offers just about every type of landscape you expect to find in Europe. From the capital city of Ljubljana, you can drive 1 hour and either be in the Alps or down by the Adriatic Sea. I spent some time in Slovenia, and one of the most famous places in Slovenia is Lake Bled. It's a picturesque lake with an island that has a scenic church built on it. While we were there, we did a hike to this lookout and got some amazing views of Lake Bled and the surrounding area. One of my favorite places I visited in Slovenia was the Soka River. It's this incredibly clean river with clear, turquoise water flowing gently as I floated in it. A unique experience you can have in Slovenia is exploring the Postojna cave. To get into the cave, you get on a train that goes nearly 4 kilometers under the earth. I felt like we were riding into Gringotts Bank from Harry Potter. But my favorite features of Slovenia are its hilltop churches. They are the landscape and create some of the most picturesque scenery. One of the most notable ones is the Church of St. Thomas. It's perfectly placed on this hill, overlooking the area and the nearby Austria. If you love the Alps, picturesque villages, and stunning scenery, Austria is your place. It has the charming beauty of nearby Switzerland. One of the most famous places in Austria is Hallstatt. It's this fairy tale village built on the edge of a lake, and it gives an incredible view of it from the boat. If you want to explore Austria's mountains, Schafberg is an incredible peak to visit. To get there, you ride up Austria's steepest train. I couldn't believe how steep it was. When we got to the top, it was super fun to explore. The views from the summit are unreal, with beautiful lakes surrounding the mountain peak. If you're feeling adventurous, you can try the Skyladder via Ferrata. It's located near the town of Gosa, which is about a 20-minute drive from Hallstatt. To get to the start, we took a short hike to begin the via Ferrata climb. The Skyladder itself is an incredible structure that I didn't realize would be so massive. Afterwards, we headed to Africa to visit Namibia. Located in the southern part of the continent, Namibia is a great option if you're visiting Africa for the first time. It's one of the safest countries in Africa, with some of the best roads and infrastructure on the continent. To begin our journey, we flew into the capital city of Windhoek. One of the most famous places in Namibia is Dedlai, a clay pan where the river dried up and the trees eventually died. Because the area is so dry, the trees have not decomposed and remain frozen in time. Overlooking Dedlai is the Big Daddy sand dune, the tallest dune in the Sossusvlei area. After about an hour-and-a-half hike, we made it to the top of the dune. The landscapes seem to stretch on forever, with endless desert meeting the Atlantic Ocean. To get to this area, you need an experienced driver to navigate through deep sand. One of my favorite experiences in Namibia was seeing the desert-adapted elephants. These elephants have evolved to survive in the harsh desert conditions, making them truly unique. We traveled deep into the remote Damaraland region and found a herd of 14 elephants after an hour of tracking. Namibia's landscapes and wildlife are truly on another level and unforgettable. Next, we traveled to Vietnam, located in Southeast Asia, which is an adventurer's paradise. One of the most impressive places in the country is Ban Giac Falls, Southeast Asia's largest waterfall. It's located in the northern part of Vietnam, straddling the border with China. The scenery at Ban Giac Falls is breathtaking, with iconic karst mountains in the background. Another must-see destination in Vietnam is Long Bay, located in the Gulf of Tonkin. Long Bay is a stunning area with emerald waters and thousands of limestone islands covered in lush vegetation. The best way to experience Long Bay is by taking a cruise, and I recommend staying overnight. The cruise lets you enjoy the beauty of the bay during both sunset and sunrise, which is magical. One of my favorite places in Vietnam was the tea fields of Long Coc. These dome-shaped hills with perfectly manicured tea fields are some of the most picturesque I've ever seen. For an adventure, you can explore the Dong Loop, a motorbike route through northern Vietnam. The route takes you through dramatic mountain scenery that looks like it's straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. After Vietnam, we headed to Central America to visit El Salvador. El Salvador is known for its world-class surfing and stunning volcanic landscapes. The capital city, San Salvador, has several fascinating places to explore, but my favorite was El Tunco Beach. El Tunco is probably the most famous beach in the country, with amazing waves perfect for surfing. The scenery here did not disappoint, with beautiful views all around. Another highlight of El Salvador was hiking the Santa Ana volcano. At the summit, we enjoyed panoramic views of Lago de Copec, a crater lake with stunning blue waters. If you're looking for adventure, El Salvador is a destination worth visiting in 2025. We then headed back to Europe to visit Norway's Lofoten Islands. The Lofoten Islands are located in northern Norway, above the Arctic Circle, but feel like a tropical paradise. The islands feature incredible beaches and surprisingly mild weather popular for their location. Henningsberg, a picturesque fishing village built on small islands, was one of my favorite places to visit. This village is home to one of the most scenic soccer fields in the world, surrounded by stunning landscapes. For hikers, Rheinbringen is one of the most famous trails in the Lofoten Islands. Although the climb was steep, the views from the top were absolutely worth it, especially during the midnight sun. Next, we traveled to Greece, home to over 6,000 islands and endless opportunities for exploration. One of the most well-known islands is Santorini. It's home to whitewash houses and all the landscapes you expect to find on a Greek island, but I will say it can get very crowded. It has the classic whitewash houses, but a more relaxed vibe compared to Santorini. One of the most famous places on Milos is Sarakoniko Beach. It's home to white lunar-like landscapes. One of my favorite places on Milos was Kletiko. It's this incredible bay with white rocks that come out of the sea. The cradle of time is just relaxing here. You can also go to the nearby Siki Cave. It's one of the most unique places I've ever been. This is cave over caleb ceiling that connects the sea. The water was just some of the clearest I've ever experienced. I have to say, my favorite Regaland is Akintos. One of the most impressive locations I've ever been. From 1,000-foot white cliffs to the bluest water you've ever seen is Akintos Hastadal. The most famous places that Akintos is Shipwreck Beach. Back in the 1980s, a cargo ship from Turkey was carrying illegal contraband and the Greece Navy chased something to this cove where it crashed. Over the years, the sand has built up around the ship and has created one of the most officially stunning locations in the world. You can boat into the beach where you can also get a great view of it from the cliffs above. Another stunning place at Akintos is Mazithras, is this massive rock formation on the Aegean, and you get a nice view of it from the nearby cliffs. Such amazing landscape with the setting sun coupled with the greens of the pines and blues of the water. Greece's islands are some of the most spectacular on earth. After it went ahead to French Polynesia to visit the island of Moria. No one has the pearl of the sea. The Ria is one of the most beautiful places I've ever experienced and was just absolutely incredible. To reach Moria, you'll first fly into the island of Tahiti. Once you arrive on the island, there's just so much to do here. I think Moria is home to some of the most spectacular mountains. They're just so jagged and unique looking. My favorite one was called Mount Murua, which translates to the shark's tooth. It rises 880 meters above the sea, and I totally get where it gets its name with its sharp, rigid appearance. Now if you're more into beaches, one of my favorite ones was the public beach Tai. Hyamanu, boats, and amazing scenery all around. Another great thing you can do on Moria. The main reason people come to Moria is the swim of humpback whales. If you come between the months of August to November, you can swim with these gentle giants. After it went ahead to New Zealand, where we have New Zealand. It's a land full of fjords like Norway, beaches like Hawaii, and landscapes straight out of Middle Earth. New Zealand is made up of two main islands, the north and the south. Now to get to New Zealand, we flew into Auckland, which is on the North Island. I imagine New Zealand. This is one of the first places that come to mind. To get there, you can either hike or take a boat, and there's this cave archway that gives you the famous view of Cathedral Cove with the Tohoho Rock. Now if you want to venture to Middle Earth, you can visit a Hobbiton right ahead to New Zealand's South Island. It's home to Cook, which is the tallest mountain in the country with a height of 3,724 meters. The drive to Cook is hardly one of the most scenic in the world since you have used it in the Coral Sunnern Alps, coupled with the glacier blue waters that lay up to it. We did the hike to the base. Cook was about 10 kilometers long in the Fiordland National Park. The Milford Sound is possibly the most famous place in all of New Zealand, and after exploring it, I understand why. The Milford Sound is pretty isolated, and the closest town is Te Anau, which is about 2 hours drive to get there. The road is one of the most beautiful I've ever been on. Some keybirds, which are the only alpine parrots in the world. I'm there, seriously so beautiful. Once we arrived at the Milford Sound, we got on a boat, brought in the boat. We're amazing. As we headed to the fjord, I mean the scale of this place is insane. The mountain wall is straight up thousands of FJH. We came across several waterfalls cascading into the sound, these trails, and I like this little coastal area that had smooth rocks and really unique vegetation that lined the shore, and it was just so common to watch the little waves roll in. If you like world-class beaches, tons of wildlife, and just good vibes, you gotta give Australia a visit. One of my favorite regions in the country is Western Australia. It's home to some of the most pristine coastline I've ever seen. There's endless white sand beaches, crystal clear waters, and kangaroos just chilling around. I think the area around Esperance is particularly beautiful. It's home to some of the wild sand in Australia and the real. Another place to visit in Australia is the Outback. The most iconic landmark in the Outback is the Uluru or Ayers Rock. It's a massive model of that's made up of sandstone. Now if you want to see some of Australia's wildlife, a great place to go with Tasmania. It's a pretty big island located in southern Australia, and the main reason I came here was to see the wombats. They live in this area around Quaden Mountain, general wombats grazing, and I'm so peaceful to watch them much on the grass. Now my all-time favorite place in Australia is the Lord Howe Island. I think it's one of the most perfect places in the world. It's located in the Tasman Sea, and you get to Lord Howe by taking a 2-hour flight from Sydney. The The island is just insanely beautiful. It's called the Hawaii of Australia, and after visiting it, I understand why. There can only be 4 on a tourist on the island at a time, and another interesting fact about Lortau is that it's the largest island ever to eradicate all its rats, which, in turn, has allowed the birds and wildlife to flourish here. One of the main reasons I wanted to go to Lortau Island was to visit Ball's Pyramid. It's the tallest sea stack in the world with a height of 572 meters. It's one of the wildest rock formations I've ever seen as it sits alone in the desolate ocean. I was just baffled by the scale of this place. I felt like Jack Sparrow discovering a treasure's island. After exploring Ball's Pyramid, we headed back to Lortau Island and got some incredible views on the way here, which was Malabar Kims. There were some incredible views of the sea cliffs, the sun, and the lives of the mountains of Lortau. Places don't get more perfect than this island. And that is it for my 2025 top 10.